Sorry, guys. Alright, hopefully you guys should be seeing something now. So, this looks better. Alright, good. So, looks like we're live now. Apologize for the delay, guys. I accidentally, they changed my stream key. So, had to get that up and running. So, apologize. Glad you're here. So, let's go ahead and we'll see who's here right now. Alright, we've got Mr. B's Fishing Things. Terry's Tropical Tanks. You guys were here earlier. Is the audio good now? Candy said there was no audio. You guys still have audio? Alright, so we'll go through here real quick. Paul Martin is here. Candy Overhauls is here. Thank you, Candy, for moderating. Let's see, we've got Derek's here. Hey, Derek, how's it going? We looked at Derek's fish room last week, so if you guys haven't checked that out yet, go ahead and check that one out. Flynn's Fish Forum is here. Hey, Flynn, how's it going? All right, let's see, we got Flynn, the Reefin' Ricken. So, how's it going? Wee Wee 2134. How's it going? Anthony's Fishy Friends is here. Pam from 54 Punchy. And then we have, let me scroll down here for a minute. And I think that's it. So if I missed anyone, I do apologize. But thank you guys for coming. So, first of all, I just want to give you guys a quick update on the baby clownfish that I've been kind of talking about here. We still have probably about 4 or 5 left. We're heading towards metamorphosis, so that should be happening here in the next few days. So hopefully we can get a couple through that. I have set up a sponge filter in there now, so hopefully we can get that rolling, get those guys through metamorphosis. At that point, it does get a lot easier. Once you get them through the metamorphosis phase, they do quite well. Wee Wee 2134, really enjoyed the Zis mod vids. Thank you. Glad you like those. There's more you can do with that. I may do another one at some point, just to play around with it. The one thing I was disappointed with that was the inability to do an air-driven or a water-driven version. You could modify it, I guess, with like some pond foam or something, but that was kind of the one thing that was a little disappointing about that. But the air-driven version does work quite well for all the different things I did. So all in all, I did enjoy doing that. So glad you liked it. All right. With that being said, we did update the clownfish. For those of you who will be in the Dallas, Texas area, I will be at Aquashella hanging out in the Fish Tube booth. So if you're there, come check it out. I do have some stickers. I bought about 50 or so. I'm going to save a few back for some people, but I do have some Fish Tank Barn stickers. So, and then I do have, just for me, I'm not selling them or anything. I do have some Fish Tank Barn t-shirts. So that you'll know where to find me. So, Candy muted the porno she was watching earlier and forgot. I'm going to not touch that one. The Reefin' Ricken has one baby clownfish that made it over a month so far. Yeah, in my opinion, when you're doing saltwater, if you get one, you're doing well. So, so do you have it through metamorphosis, or are you still? You should be through that by now. So hopefully you made it through the metamorphosis. All right, I'm gonna just not touch any of that, and we'll just let that roll. So, all right, so I'm gonna hit first. So if you guys are not from Michigan, please don't leave, because I'm gonna go through some other stuff that is pertinent, maybe to your state as well. But I wanted to first kind of touch on the new regulation in Michigan, because it is causing a bit of a stir. around here. I went to the local fish club meeting last Thursday night, and there was a lot of confusion, we'll call it. So, is Mike blushing? I don't know what to say to that. What Candy does on Candy's own time is what Candy does. So, he has 3 stripes. Yep, if you got 3 stripes, you're well. So if you've got orange and 3 stripes, you're well on your way. So, all right. So I'm gonna switch the scene here, and you're gonna see my shirt for a minute. But now I'm gonna pull this up, and I'm gonna read this to you, but you guys can see it on the screen as well, I hope. So let me know if you can't. One thing I realized is I don't have the chat up here, and I can't add it now. There. All right. So I'm going to read this, and then I'm going to pop back to the chat and see what you guys have to say. So starting March 21st, 2019, pet shops, nurseries, other businesses, or individuals, important point, selling live non-native aquatic species in Michigan must register annually with the Michigan DNR. The requirements come as part of legislation finalized at the end of 2018 that amended X law, X act, and X whatever. Under the new requirement, a person or entity without this registration shall not offer or shall not sell or offer for sale or possess for the purpose of sale or offering for sale a live non-native aquatic species. Registration must be updated every year and expires December 31st of the issuing year. It can be completed at the X website. The seller will receive a confirmation number that must be retained and conspicuously posted at the selling location. The DNR also has provided at michigan.gov under invasives under the laws tab a downloadable certificate that sellers can print and add their registration number to for easier posting. Annual registrations will give us a clear picture of what type of live aquatic species are being sold in Michigan, which can help identify potential invasive threats that could result from releasing unwanted pets or other aquatic organisms available in the trade into Michigan's waters. And then you can contact some people for it. So, so that's the law. So, yeah, so Derek, so Derek was with me at the club meeting, and people were flipping out. So I'm going to flip back to me for a minute. So, yeah, there was a lot of, the club that we're a part of, they took a very conservative approach, in my opinion. This is just Mike's opinion, not the opinion of any organizations that I'm a part of, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But basically, they were like, no live sales until we figure out what this means. So, and then I talked to some people in other clubs, and they were just like, it's up to the seller. We're just going to have our events as they are, and so be it. So, we'll see what happens. So, I'll give you my take on that law. And so basically, my take on it right now, I went to the website. I haven't registered yet because I just have gotten lazy. But basically, you don't have to pay anything. You're not even. It's not even like Terry. Saw Terry in there was saying it's like a fishing license. Well, yes and no. You don't a fishing license. You do have to pay for. But this was free. People, there was some talk where some people at the club were like, "Hey, they're going to hit us with a tax form at the end of the year." My opinion is, you should, obviously, if you sold like 2 bags, then, if you sold a couple bags of fish, I don't think the IRS is going to you're not going to trigger an audit. But at the same time, if you play by the rules, you should report your income and your expenses, which I'm not a tax accountant, so, but, at that point, your fish room becomes a business expense, which you can or cannot write off, but talk to your tax professional. Ken Emy is here, or Emmy, and V-Stag, and I saw Cichlids 23 as well, so welcome, guys. So that's an interesting thing, because a lot of people were complaining and saying, oh, they're going to hit us with, with some with tax forms at the end of the year. When I went to the website, I don't know if I can get to it from here, but basically it was the Salty Reef is here. So basically, what you could do, I mean, it was basically, are you selling fish or reptiles or birds or snakes or whatever it was. So basically, at that point, it was very. Let's pull it up real quick. Hold on. I'm gonna go over here. Make sure this isn't being screen shared anywhere. I'll pop that one over here. Sign in. So sorry for the delay here, guys. I am actually gonna pull the website up. I just have to get to it first. So, all right, hold on one second. So I am going to pop this into here, and we're just gonna close these out so I don't accidentally do anything. All right, so now we're gonna flip to the screen share mode again. All right, so I'm gonna show you the form. I'm not going to fill it out right now because you guys don't need my phone number, email address, my retail store number, etc. So, but basically this is the form. Put your name, phone number, email, business name, retail store number. You can enter not apply if this doesn't apply. Description of retail location. They give you an example. You can enter the business address. You can select a point on the map if you want. You can put a picture on there. Doesn't say it's required though. And then here we'll play with the drop downs for a minute. So it's yes and no. So say sell at an auction, yeah. Crayfish, yeah, yes. I don't really right. No. Turtles. Right, and then you can put comments in here, and then just submit the form, and they give you a number. So that is what the form is. So I don't know what you guys think of that, but I've kind of I think it's no big deal. I think what'll happen with our club eventually is maybe when you go sell at an auction, you've got to put the number. Your DNR number on the bag. I know, just looking at some of the other states' regulations, I know, if you watch some of Greg Sage's videos, and you go to his website, he's got a certificate of inspection from the Colorado DNR or some other government entity of that nature. So I think this is pretty unobtrusive. There was a lot of passion. A lot of people were upset. It was kind of a very kind of anti-government thing almost. But my opinion, no big deal. I see Terry's doesn't have any problem with it. If you guys who live in other states or countries, let me know your opinion and if you have anything similar. That'd be kind of interesting to know. So, my opinion, no big deal. So, that being said, I am going to flip back to the screen share, and I'm going to show you the list of some of the other states. And there's one state I really do want to talk about because it's a really interesting law. And it's kind of a weird place to have kind of a restrictive law. So I think some of you may know which state I'm going to refer to. Some of you may not. But let's go ahead and I'm going to flip to the screen share. So this is the Aquarium Forum. I just Google searched this, and someone put up here the this was back in 2011, so I don't know how often it's updated, but I did find this list. And so if you go through here, it's different states, right? Alabama. I don't know what a walking catfish is. However, I guess you can't have jackrabbits and bobcats and stuff either. But I'm going to go to the state of Maine, because Maine is interesting. So let's find Maine on here. That's Florida. Interesting. I think some of these are. This might be an old list. I kind of realized now that I'm playing around with it. Idaho, Illinois, Kansas. I think this is it right here. Hold on. All right, so Maine. So this is interesting. So Maine does not have a restricted species list. However, it does have an unrestricted species list, which is very interesting. Wonder why. So, there's one fish I'm going to look for. So, this list, all the, this is a bunch of legal stuff, etc., etc. So, alright, so many species have been considered and rejected. Among these are tarantulas and snails. Apparently tarantulas are a problem in a state that gets super cold, but sure. And snails because they serve as intermediate hosts for a wide range of aquatic pathogens, parasites, and other pathogens. All snails, gastropodia, are restricted and can be imported only by special importation permit with scientific health certificates. Therefore, snails cannot be traded by commercial pet shops. So, I guess no one gets plants either. So, alright, alphabetical list by scientific name. These are the ones that you can have. So, apparently, you can have something called a freshwater barracuda. Okay. Green terrors, etc., etc. Red devils. Bristlenose pleco, headstanders. You can have apistogrammas, baddest, cave tetra, etc. I'm gonna point out one that is very inconspicuously absent from this list in just a minute. So you go through here. Stuff we all kind of recognize. Goldfish. They have goldfish. I wonder. I'm kind of picking on them for a reason, and I'm going to get to that in just a minute. Corridoras. I think the one I'm looking for, the scientific name starts with a P. So if you notice here, I'm going rather slowly, because we're looking for a specific species that is a very common species, which in most people's opinion, I think, would not have any luck surviving in Maine in the winter if it got released. So, festive, cichlid, mono, Ambrochromis. Alright. Alright, we're in the P's, and why we're in the P's, and you have guppies, mollies, pseudocroph, I think this is an old list, because I thought angelfish were illegal in the state of Maine. So I will not pick on Maine completely. So, yeah, snakeheads are illegal kind of everywhere. But I want to look up something because I think that's an old list. Because I heard somewhere, someplace. Hold on, we're gonna look now. I'm gonna pop this over, just so in case I don't see any. Yeah, state of Maine restricted aquarium species. Yeah, so they're pretty unrestricted list. All right, hold on. Sorry, guys. All right. All right. All right. I'm gonna apologize to the state of Maine because basically they are you can't have angelfish. Something that I didn't think about. I remember reading it somewhere, but I do apologize. But they are very strict in the state of Maine. It was kind of an interesting thing. So I'm gonna pop you guys up to the to that list again. So quite a few different things on here that you can have, which is an interesting thing. One thing I kind of found interesting too, if you go back here and kind of play on their website for a minute. Go back up here. I found it very. The Maine Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife has a statutory responsibility for all freshwater fish. The Maine Department of Marine Resources regulates saltwater fish. So let's hit the curiosity train for a minute. So, all right. So let's read about aquaculture. So, the aquaculture page is designed to provide applicants. There's hearings. All right. So I didn't research this as well as I probably should have. But we'll go to laws and regulations. Let's go to laws. Law book, resources. So, having a little bit of fun. Hey JH, how's it going? So, yeah, having a little bit of fun with aquarium research. One other thing I do want to talk about a little bit on here is the state of Hawaii. So, and this is going to be more on the saltwater side. As you guys know, there is quite a bit of controversy with the ornamental fish trade in the state of Hawaii, especially the collection of things like yellow tangs. There's some folks out there, that have managed to, after many years of kind of fighting, kind of throwing out some rhetoric that is not scientifically factual. get the fishery shut down in Hawaii, even though it is probably the world's most well-managed fishery on Earth. They're not people like bombing the reefs like you have like in the Philippines, for example. So there's been kind of a backlash with that. I am going to put a link in here to an article, and let me make sure which screen I'm on here. And I'm going to show you to obviously don't watch it now, but watch it in your own time. Paste some link in here. That link is to a talk from MACNA from Dr. Bruce Carlson, who's the head of the Waikiki Aquarium. I think he was like the head of the Waikiki Aquarium, well known in the marine aquarium trade and in the hobby. He spoke at MACNA last year about the fishery in Hawaii. I did watch this video before coming on. It's very interesting to watch and to see the various characters involved. So there's two characters that are against the Hawaii fishery. One is named Renee Umberger. The other one is named Snorkel Bob. Just kind of to put some light on the subject a little bit. Snorkel Bob runs a snorkel business in the state of Hawaii. So he has kind of a business motivation, in my opinion, to attack the aquarium trade. A lot of the things that Dr. Carlson mentions in that video are very, scientific and fact-based. For example, I know some of you know what an Achilles tang is, but basically, there's, you can catch Achilles tang as food fish, and there's no problem. But at the other aspect, you can't collect them alive for the aquarium trade. So, makes a lot of sense. And the aquarium fishery is like a minuscule amount compared to the food fishery in Hawaii. So, something to think about. There's some people out there in the saltwater world, something called skeptical reef keeping. Some of you guys should check out. Those fishes are expensive for sure. Now, I will say this too. There's a picture that floats around from time to time that you'll see out there. It's a bunch of yellow tangs that somehow passed away. No one knows exactly. Ended up in a dumpster, and the people that were pro aquarium fish found it, and there's a picture of about 100 to 200 yellow tangs laid out in a parking lot, and not real good, not a good look. Let me see real quick if I can find that picture, and I'll show it to you. If you are don't like seeing dead fish, I would suggest maybe once I get it up, I'll tell you guys and turn away for a minute. So, dead yellow tangs in Hawaii. Yeah. So, all right. So I'm going to switch the screen to this picture. So if you guys do not like seeing this, please turn away for a moment, and I'll tell you guys when you get to come back. So we're going to go to the screen share. So they found all of these yellow tangs from a collector, and this is the one that I've seen a lot. There's this picture here where they basically found them just on the shore somewhere. So kind of an interesting, you can't blame them. This is something the hobby did wrong, but at the same time, there's a lot of good going on in the hobby. So if you scroll down to this picture here, this right here is a larval Pacific blue tang. So the hippo tang from Rising Tide, and that's a captive bred hippo tang. And then, like I was talking about in the video, there is those are all food fish of the Achilles tangs. That was actually in Dr. Carlson's video. It's okay to kill them, but you can't keep them. Funny, isn't it? So I'm going to switch the screen back now. So if you guys didn't, can turn back. So HC Aqua's here. Hey HC, you probably know quite a bit about this, being in Hawaii. You've probably seen that picture. You maybe even live by where that's at. But yeah, the Hawaii marine ornamental fishery is quite a hot button issue in the saltwater world. It has been for many years. On like the Facebook groups I'm a part of, etc. I've seen a lot of people, write the Hawaii congressman, write the Hawaiian governor. So that's a very interesting and unique fishery regulation. So I'm going to turn it over to you guys now. I kind of did my little, it's not really a rant of sorts, but gave my opinion on a couple things here. Pretty interesting stuff, in my opinion, especially the state of Michigan, where historically there's not been many fisheries regulations, but starting to get a little bit more stringent, which is not a bad thing if you look at places like Florida, where the lionfish is. HC Aqua is pro fishery. Yeah, it's the facts. I don't know if you were in here earlier where I posted Dr. Bruce Carlson's video from MACNA last year. Gives a lot of facts. So, and I know from afar, it's hard to judge where someone else is from, but just looking at the facts of the situation, I think people are not killing the fish and killing the reefs, and I mean they are in some other places, but that's not the cause of fish decline. It's more stuff that we do to the environment, acidification of the oceans and things like that are more of a problem than the guys catching the yellow tangs out in Hawaii. Yeah, for sure. So, I do want to hit up one other thing, because one of the gentlemen I mentioned, his name is Snorkel Bob. Apparently, there's a movie coming out, and I'm gonna find the name of it in just a moment here. Let's see. It is called. So I don't know exactly when this comes out, but it's called The Dark Hobby. Is the name of the movie. So I don't have a link to it or anything like that, but apparently there was a preview in that video I saw that I linked up in here, and it was pretty non-factual. If you guys want a little bit of a laugh, he put so he's talking about fish dying and they're killing the marine fish in Hawaii, and one of the things in the piece of video he showed was discus, which was kind of funny. I actually kind of laughed. I laughed really hard, actually. So they're killing our Hawaiian reef fish, and it shows yellow tangs and Achilles tangs, and then all of a sudden it shows discus. And it's not factual, bud. So I want to see this movie, and I may make a reaction video to it at some point, or pull it up on a live stream and with some of the clips and say, hey, this is where it's factually inaccurate, etc., etc. I might do that. Not sure yet, but so yeah, make the laws reasonable, for sure. So, do you guys have any laws in your states? I know we kind of touched on HC Aquas a little bit. We did pick on Maine for a little bit, and got a little egg on my face, I guess, because I was thinking they were banning angelfish, and for some reason they're back on there. So, Yeah, we used to have a lot of discus breeders here, but still. Annie Confetti is here. How's it going? So, uh, yep. So, hope everything's good in Chicago. Um, so, Canada, very few laws of what we keep. Yeah, you guys can have the Asian arowanas. I'm not big into arowanas, so like I kind of, um, yeah, for sure. I'm kind of thinking next week's. I'm kind of thinking next week's live stream will be kind of a, we'll call it a celebration of making it through winter, because at this point we're getting uh, Josh is here. Need more likes. Yeah, so Josh has heard a lot of the same things I have. He's local to me as well. So yeah, so you guys smash the like button if you're here and enjoy it. So I haven't spotted a wild fish here in Ohio yet. Yeah, I'm in Michigan, and occasionally you hear a story of some fishermen getting into some pacu here. People, someone will release it in the waterway, like lakes. There's a lake that's kind of between Lake Erie and Lake Huron called Lake St. Clair. And a few years ago, some fishermen caught um, a pacu out in the lake. So, yeah, I think there's some rules in Michigan too. Never, I can never find a clear answer like online. One of the things I would love to do here in the fish tank barn is keep a native Michigan tank with some bluegill and some perch. Um, Kind of is one of the reasons I like the zebra obliquidans. So, um, yeah. So the North American Mass, the state's nuts. Yes. A red-tailed cat was caught in Lake Michigan. Yeah. So I mean they're out there, but I don't know what I would do with a red-tailed cat if I got one online. So it's freezing here. Yeah, so it's cold. You're not too far away from me right now, HG Aqua, and it's definitely warmer. But I think we will do kind of a celebration of making it through the first winter here in the fish tank barn. It's kind of we may have a little bit of fun, maybe. Do some question and answers. I am kind of debating doing some rearranging here, and maybe we'll go through some of the things that I think I need to change going into next winter here in the fish tank barn. So, Vinovsky Tanks is here. How's it going? I said hi to Josh. Let's see who else is joined in here as we're being going through here. I said hi to Annie, Cichlids, HC Aqua, Mr. Bees, with 23. Aqua. So, all right. Derek has offered to come over and help for sure. Yep, I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. I really need to do some work. The upstairs I'm pretty happy with. It's the downstairs, and part of what I want to do is for an efficiency sake, kind of keep, because like right now I have like beside me right here are some Gadiad tanks. There's cichlids in here. Yep. There's more Gadiads in there. There's a cichlid down here. It's like I need to put like all the cichlids in one spot, like all the live bears in one spot, all the it's kind of like organize it a little bit better. Yeah, Josh. Derek. Josh is from my local saltwater club, so he's not too far from us. Yeah, see, I don't know what drove. It's kind of weird. Like the Michigan, like not really banned, but this new Michigan law, like there wasn't any press on it. Like all of a sudden we get this letter from the fish club that said, "Hey, we're not going to do auctions and stuff anymore, or we're going to, change how we do things for a while until we figure out what's going on." And the next thing you know, so it's kind of a weird thing, but it's no. I mean, this seems pretty minor to me. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, it's so most bands are just, yeah. I mean, this isn't like a band, but still, it seems kind of came out of nowhere. Yeah, Josh is around here for sure. Yeah, I think some of us northern United States can kind of feel you, Mr. B, but at the same time, yeah, I agree, Terry. I don't have any say in that from the club perspective, but yeah, in my opinion, you register, you play by the rules, and you've got no problems. That's just my opinion. So we've got some shout outs from the Michigan locals here, where they're at. I'm going to just say I'm in Metro Detroit. I don't want any unwanted visitors from law enforcement or anything like that. So we'll just say I'm in Detroit. So we're in Metro Detroit area. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Yeah, we can buy that stuff here too, Candy. The windshield washer with de-icer fluid. Yeah, I was vaguely referring to it, Annie. You never know who's lurking out on the interwebs. But yeah, I don't really want any unwanted visitors here in the fish tank barn, especially of the law enforcement variety. Don't want animals out here either, but definitely don't want any law enforcement. So, do you guys have any questions? We can talk. Just do some Q&A. I can go till 10 or even later if you guys want. So it's basically kind of what's coming up in the near future here, video wise. There is a video on it's going to be coming out on Thursday, normal Thursday time. Kind of talking about some of the Victorian cichlids that I have here in the fish tank barn. We did have Michael Liu come speak at our club last week as part of the meeting. Very interesting stuff. He talked about rare and unusual cichlids, which was a very interesting. I guess I'm kind of new to the cichlid part of this hobby, and there's quite a few different lakes that he went through. He went through like the Soda Lake cichlids, the so like Congo River and some of these other areas, and I didn't write down all the lake names. Joe's here. Hey Joe, how's it going? So Joe's another person that's local to me. So he's does quite a few things with aquariums. He's actually been the curator of a aquarium that is part of a restaurant chain. So Joe knows quite a bit as well. Yeah, it reads as an unenforceable law. Not everyone's going to come knocking on your door. If you're reported as short-handed, as all law enforcement officials are, it's probably the only way to be notified. Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say the DNR here is more concerned with like fishermen and that kind of stuff. I've seen them out more ice fishing because I don't go out on the big lake. I don't have the watercraft that I would venture out on there with, but like places like Lake St. Clair, they hang out at a lot. I don't see them on the inland lakes as much, but they are around. So like one of those things you play by the rules is pairing clowns is pretty easy. Large one female, small one male. Yep. There's a video out on the channel on that. Probably cover that in more than one. There's a breeding clownfish video series that I have out there, which is definitely worth watching. At some point, when I've rebred them again, it's been about 5 years or so since I've done them. But this, if I get some out of this latest batch, maybe I'll remaster that video a little bit. But yeah, pairing clownfish is probably one of the easier things to do because they basically have you basically get two fish. Dominant one's female, smaller one's the male, and that's how it rolls. So really just need two fish. So yeah, Paul, one thing I do see them doing though is I see them hanging out probably at like the events, like the auction. Like, if you're a DNR officer and you want to make a statement, you go to the auction and see how many people are playing by the rules, right? The one thing that does worry me about it a little bit is the saltwater side. There are quite a few coral swaps around here, and the saltwater side of the hobby doesn't really pay attention to a lot of the DNR sort of laws and everything because there's no saltwater here. So, you put a clownfish in the local lake, it's going to last 10 minutes, and that's kind of it. So yeah, so that's basically it. Um, yeah, so they do have our hands full with like Asian carp too. As one, they're awful worried about Asian carp coming from Illinois into like Lake Michigan. Lake Michigan is a big sport fishing lake and kind of a touristy lake, and so if you get those things in there, that would be a bad thing. There's a lot of salmon fishing that goes on there, as in all the Great Lakes, especially like Superior, Huron, and Michigan. I don't know about Ontario and Erie as much. Things I hear more about from like Lake Erie are things like walleye, perch, those sort of things. Lake St. Clair is probably one of the world's best muskie fisheries, so you don't want to ruin that by getting these Asian carp in there. So they're worried about that. There was a lot of things too. I saw poking around in the news about boats. The same date was given too, the March 21st date. So so there's more rules now. You have to really. They're going to be a lot stricter on like if you got plants hanging off your boat. When you take it out of the water, you got to like pull your drain plug out so you don't transfer the water from one place to another. So definitely, they're getting a little bit more strict. One thing we have here too, invasive species wise, there's these little round freshwater gobies that you can catch. I've caught them a few times. Just throw them in the. So Terry says Asian carp are already in the Great Lakes. They won't take over. What I've heard, the last thing I heard on the Asian carp, unless they're coming up through like the St. Lawrence River, last I heard is they were like kind of outside of Chicago. So yeah, the smallies love the gobies. Yeah, so people are starting to make bait out of them. So I figured eventually maybe the bass and the like the smallmouth and largemouth will make short work of them. If people are like making bait out of it, that means they've kind of been accepted in the environment. That's not a good thing, but if someone's making a lure that looks like that, then they've definitely had an impact on the ecosystem and are like being eaten. Unlike things like lionfish, right? You have a lionfish that's in the Caribbean. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Hit a little bit of a tired spell here. So once you have the lionfish in the Caribbean, you've got these like these little wrasses, not wrasses, but stuff like royal grammas, stuff like that don't know to stay away from them and just get decimated by them because the lionfish will just pound on them. Okay. Oh, lumpy dog. That's a good one. Michigan rednecks are not going to follow any new rules. They don't follow the current. That's probably true. Yep, that's true. DNA tests have confirmed Asian carp in Lake Michigan passed the barrier. Okay. All right, that's good to know. So, oh, okay. So Terry lives 10 miles away from the barrier. Okay, okay. I follow it in the news, but I don't I don't like actively research it. So I'm gonna take your word for it on that. So you guys have any aquarium questions? Anything you guys picked up over the weekend? I did pick up some new fish at the auction. Those will be at the end of this Thursday's video. They do kind of fall into the Victorian cichlid family. So I'll be interested to see how those grow up because I'm pretty excited for them. But you guys have any other questions like saltwater, freshwater? We can talk anything you want. Kind of debating on like Sunday's video, and then I'm kind of debating about doing basically like a guppy breeding tank, how I set it up. Also want to maybe talk a little bit about some of my planted African cichlid tanks. So clownfish fry are doing well, Lumpy Dog. I've graduated them up some food levels now, so they are taking some smaller pelletized food. There's probably about a handful left or so, and we're hitting pretty close now to the metamorphosis time. So I've got a sponge filter in their tank now, so we're gonna see how we do here. So the metamorphosis time for the clownfish is the hardest part. It's really taxing on their system to change from like a little larval fish like you saw in the picture if you follow Corvus Oskin's channel at all, to like the little baby clownfish. So that's going to be an interesting to see how that turns out. So I did make some changes to the breeding setup, which I think have helped quite a bit now. I've got it rolling now to a point where it's working quite well. So okay, Cichlid 23, what is the minimum tank size for lionfish to live nicely? It depends which lionfish, first of all. There are some smaller species. I think they're like the Fu Manchu lionfish, which you could probably do in maybe like a 40 breeder or 65. The bigger ones, like the big Volatans, I would do it like at a 90. Is what I would do with those fish. Everybody ready for Aquashella? Yes. Yep, ready to go. I've got to figure out next week. There's I'm kind of in my head, video wise. JH, the Volatan, yeah, you want to do a 90 for that for sure. That's my opinion. Some people may say 75, but I'd do a 90. But Aquashella wise, like in my own mind for like YouTube, I kind of have this road to Aquashella like in my head. Like, okay, these are the videos I need to do, to make sure I have videos ready for for when I'm out of the fish barn when I'm at Aquashella. So I'm gonna be there Friday afternoon. So I'm gonna leave Sunday kind of midday. Unfortunately, I will miss Corey McElroy's talk, which I'm not happy about, but I used airline miles for my flight, and that was kind of the best time to get out of there. So that is what it is. But looking forward to the booth. Should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to seeing everybody again. So should be good for sure. There's some other stuff coming up the pipeline too. I did a collab with someone that's not that's about a couple of different saltwater items. Terry, I will be going to Chicago for sure. That will be a great time. I went last year as well. So, looking forward to going back to the White Eagle Convention Center. So, definitely will be making the trip there. I was in Chicago actually for work last year too. So I don't know if we're going to go and do that again. I would like to. But at the same time, understand it might not happen. So if you guys saw, the tank lights went off. But I did do a collab that I'm still kind of working on editing on with someone who's pretty knowledgeable about things like marine pathogens, pathogens for your aquariums and stuff like that. So once that comes out, and then that's closer to coming out, I'll let you know. We talked about a couple of different subjects actually, and those videos were about. We talked for about 2.5 hours on Friday night. So there's a lot of footage to go through on that. So expect that in the not the near future, but in the future, pretty soon here. Yeah, I don't drink, Terry, so you can buy me a Coke, but had my fun with that. But take some medication now that I can't have that anymore, unfortunately. But we'll go have a Coke or some ice cream. Or some deep dish pizza. So, yeah, so JH is going. I know I'm going. Is anyone else in the stream right now going to Aquashella? In Dallas. Let's see if anyone else I know. Pam, I think Pam might be going. I think. So Annie, are you guys going to Dallas, or are you guys going to Chicago? Oh, okay. Yeah, Chicago for sure. That was a good time last year. I think it will be. Brian P's here. Hey, how's it going? I think. I think Aquashella will be a little different next year, or this year compared to last year. Last year it was a lot more saltwater, but I think it's going to be more mixed, and I'm kind of curious to see how it turns out in Dallas. So, definitely a good thing for sure. All right, so we've been going about 57 minutes. So I do apologize for starting a little bit late and not realizing YouTube changed the stream key on me. So, I have not seen the floor plan. I've been looking at that. I was looking for that a few days ago. I didn't find it, but that doesn't mean didn't mean that it's not there. It just means I didn't find it. But I am going to check that out. I want to see what kind of vendors are there too. Because I've been toying around with the idea of getting some corals. I just haven't gotten there yet. So, good night, Terry. Have a good one. Thanks for coming along. So, the Chicago Aquashella date, I believe, is the weekend of August 10th, if I remember correctly. So, are you talking to me, JH? I think you found me before. Maybe not. Hold on. Let me make sure I'm not screen sharing my Facebook page, but hold on. Yeah, I'm friends with you, Joseph. If you're talking to me, I'll send you a PM after this, so you know who I am. So, all right. That being said, we are hitting the hour mark. So I think I'm going to shut it down if you guys don't have any last minute questions here. So I do thank you guys for watching. We'll be back again next Tuesday to talk. I think we'll have the end of winter. We made it through the first year of winter fish barn party. So looking forward to that. That being said, I do appreciate you guys coming out. It was a lot of fun. And we will talk to you guys next week.